Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Aiello back as your host of the MTA's Virtual Awards Gala, brought to you by Coghlan Insurance. And it's nice to be back. It's a Thursday, and in honor of Throwback Thursday, I brought the hair back from 1983. That's what you get for no haircuts. And obviously, under this environment, things are going to be a little different for the gala as well. No one's going to tell you when to take your seat this year. The bar at home is always going to be open, even for my buddy Evgeny, my Russian friend, who I'm going to miss having a couple of vodka shots with, but we'll have to do it another time. In the meantime, let's bring in the MTA president, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet from Portage Transport. Here's Bernie Dreger.
Greetings and welcome to a new year with the Manitoba Trucking Association. I think we can all agree that this year must be an improvement over last year. However, and despite all the challenges, there were good things that came from 2020. We learned a lot, not only about our own limitations, but also our capabilities as an industry. When you consider how we were working a year ago in comparison to where we are today, I would suggest that not many of us thought so much change was possible in such a short time. Some of the wins we saw in 2020 included sourcing almost 10,000 liters of hand sanitizer and almost $30,000 worth of face coverings for our members at a time when those resources were incredibly scarce. Developing a member resource page to share with drivers so they could access basic amenities like groceries, meals, or even a hot shower when doors were being closed to them, and addressing delays at checkpoints when returning to Manitoba. We also advocated for medical access for drivers if the relief in form of waiver credentials and an extension to IRP deadlines, among many other items. And of course, the member support in 2020 was phenomenal. Thank you for taking the time to reach out to the MTA, whether it was an email, phone call, or some other way of saying thank you. We appreciate it. Today, we are gathering to celebrate the contributions to our industry of so many organizations and individuals. These are the people and companies who formed our industry and pushed it in such a way that we were able to achieve all that we did last year. Your leadership and contributions to the association and industry have turned it into the industry it is today. So without further ado, I will say thank you to our event sponsors and congratulations to all our award winners.
Thank you, Bernie. Traditionally at this time, we usually take a look at the industry's pioneers, but since, well, everything's been a little crazy this year, we've all become pioneers. So instead, a salute to the industry. Take a look.
Hello, my name is Matt Kay of Ocean Trailer, and we are the MTA Ocean Trailer Pioneer sponsor. In a normal year, we would accept nominations and go through a process to honor this year's recipients. However, this year we have chosen to honor the entire industry. There are so many people who have dedicated their careers to the trucking industry. Drivers, dispatchers, shop technicians, managers, customer service and sales reps, safety, HR, and IT staff, along with all the associated trades. They built this industry and continue to contribute to it every day. In 2020, we all became pioneers of the trucking industry as we faced the new frontier created by COVID-19. We have always known that our work was essential, and this year our work was more essential than ever. We ensured the grocery store shelves were stocked so others could safely stay home. We moved the face masks and PPE required by hospitals and other frontline healthcare workers to ensure that they could stay safe from this new virus. We moved the elastic, the toilet paper, the dry goods, and all the supplies needed to get through the early days of this crisis, and we continue to do so as the world works to safely contain COVID-19. Ocean Trailer is proud to recognize the pioneers of the trucking industry, and this year is no exception. There are not enough words to say how truly grateful we are to every single one of you who has contributed to this fantastic industry, past and present. We are Manitoba's trucking industry, and we are essential workers. Thank you for your dedication not only to the trucking industry, but also to the communities we live and work in. Stay safe and thank you.
Drivers were critical in keeping the economy moving here, and of course, that meant a lot of us were able to stay safe and stay home. Thank you for that. The 2020 Inland Industry Excellence Award are among the best of the best drivers, and we honor them today. Thank you for everything you've done for us. One of these individuals was chosen as Volvo Trucks Canada Manitoba Driver of the Year. Let's find out who wins.
"23 years ago, I started working on a farm, and then my friend Greg Ham, who works here at Clayson's, he asked me, hey, do you want to come work here at Clayson's? I said, yeah, sure, let's check it out, and I've been here for 20 years now.
I would describe Stretch as a hardworking, energetic individual. He's very family-driven, family-oriented. Everything Stretch does is for his family. He works extremely hard. He works a lot of overtime hours, and it's all in an effort to give his family a better life and to make sure that the time that he gets with his family is quality time.
My family has supported me as a driver greatly. My wife is excellent. She's been there for the kids. She's a stay-at-home mom who was taking care of the kids while I was working, sometimes long days, but she was there when I come home. She's taking care of everything, so I don't have to wash the dishes. I don't have to do any home cooking and home work, but I do get to enjoy my family time. My children, a couple of times they came with me right in the truck, like in the yard, and they loved it. They really have lots of fun, especially as a kid. And I have some nice pictures. They were in the hard hat with the safety vest in the truck on the steering wheel. Trucking, I look the way I say it, it's like, who doesn't like to go on a road trip? Pretty much everybody. So I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Every day I can go on a road trip. So that's how I look at it. It's like I'm going on a road trip. You can drive around, you get paid for it, and you can do something good, and you can feel good about making a living and providing for a family. So yeah, what's not to like about that?
One word to describe Stretch would be outstanding.
He was very eager. He's always had a great work ethic. He's always had a great personality.
So he's always very positive, super happy, very thankful of what we do.
He's not a jack of all trades. He's a master of them all. And what he brings to the table, outstanding. Hard to compare him to anybody else. And he is really admired by every customer, not just one, every customer that we have.
When people talk about how they would want their kids to grow up like, you would point to somebody like Stretch.
He's always in a little bit of a rush, you know what I mean? Stretch is always, just a little bit faster than the average person.
To be honest, I was surprised when Robert asked me if we would like to nominate you. I said, well, that's great. I know that there's a lot of great truckers, so I was kind of like taken back that I'm one, I guess, being one of them, so that's awesome. And to know that I'm appreciated for the work I do, so yeah, that was kind of a nice surprise.
Well, Stretch, I have to say congratulations on this award. It's a heck of an achievement that you've accomplished in your career. You have certainly earned every glowing remark, and I'm so glad to see that you have actually been a recipient of this award.
Congratulations, Stretch, on winning the Volvo Driver of the Year award. Well deserved.
Congratulations, Stretch, on your award. There's no one more deserving in this company. Thanks very much for allowing me to be a part of it.
Congratulations, Stretch, on winning your award. It's well deserved. You're one of the most professional drivers I've ever had the privilege of working with.
There's many great truck drivers out there, and I want to salute them all and thank them all for doing a great job. And also the people who work together, the people in the shop, the people in the office, because we are all together a big team, because in the end, that's how the job gets done. So I would like to thank everybody and all of them together.
Congratulations, Stretch, and thank you, Volvo Canada. The industry doesn't move without our partners in Associated Trades. They work to ensure our industry keeps moving. Tonight, we honor one of them.
Payne Transportation Ltd. is pleased to sponsor the Associate of the Year Award. Members of the MTA's Associated Trades Division play a key role in Manitoba's trucking industry. They provide a wealth of services and are a resource to carriers, so carriers are able to do what they need to do, move freight from one point to another. Through the strong support of the Associated Trades Division, the MTA is able to continue its advocacy efforts, community involvement, and other member initiatives. The Associated Trades Division is a key component of the Manitoba Trucking Association, just as they are a key component of Manitoba's trucking industry. Following his dad into the trucking industry, John Mozeth has quietly made his mark.
One of our first dates later in life was actually the truck show. Kind of in his blood, I think.
It all started at Western Star in the parts department when he worked with General Trucks as a parts driver, before finding a 23-year home with BEAVER Truck Center.
I hired John almost 25 years ago as a service writer. In fact, I believe he was our first service writer. After no more than a month, I went to Glenn Kleemak, who was our service manager at the time, and I said, you know, Glenn, this kid's going to go places.
Volvo sent a team out to interview prospective people to come as salespeople. John did not pass that criteria from Volvo. 6-8 months later, we overrode their decision, took him on ourselves, and he excelled and has never looked back.
Right outside his office, they always had the big semis in the showrooms, and I remember he'd always take us and we'd go explore the different semis, and he'd let us sit in the driver's seat, and it was always just a fun time getting to see what Dad does.
How has he grown? Very fast, from a service writer to a general manager in 20 years. I think that's pretty good growth.
John is someone who understands and appreciates the value of giving back. He is active not only within Manitoba's trucking community, but also in the greater community.
I would have to say that his greatest passion would be his family, his love of music, his friends, and helping the community.
Why don't we start with volunteer fire department, Heading. He was a volunteer counselor.
When he was at the conventions, it was his constituents that he was serving.
When he was a younger member of the community, he always had such a great support system, becoming a member on the rec association and then eventually becoming mayor. I think it made him feel really good being a part of the community and being able to kind of give back like people did for him.
He is one of the first to answer the call for volunteers and is an eager participant in our industry's events, whether it's as a spectator, sponsor, or participant.
If we had something to do, he would never say, I'm too busy. He would put his hand up, and when he did it, he got it done.
He's focused, he's been very industry oriented, and he's been very positive, always a very positive thinker towards the industry.
Actively involved in the MTA's Associated Trades Division, he routinely volunteers at the Truck Convoy for Special Olympics and the United Way Truck Pull. He attends the Professional Truck Driving Championships annually, in both his roles as an industry sponsor and as Mayor of Headingley. Through BEAVER Truck Center, he sponsors MTA events, including golf tournaments, professional truck driving championships, the MTA annual general meeting, and more.
John's involvement in the ATA and the MTA is really encouraging for other members to take notice of.
BEAVER Truck Center is also a supporter of the MTA's Precious Metals program. And when the MTA requires equipment for an event or other community initiative, John can always be counted upon to provide a shiny, brand new Volvo. He just needs the address and time. John has a passion for helping the next generation entering the industry and is always willing to volunteer time to speak with students and recent graduates about the potential the Manitoba industry has to offer.
John inspires others through leadership. He walks the walk, doesn't just talk the talk.
When John's talking, people are listening.
He always seems to walk away with something that he's learned at the end of the day and make sure that he utilizes it somewhere along the way. So he's constantly learning and trying to better himself.
I would say that John's continually striving to bring 100% satisfaction to his customer base. He is very personable. When he drops a truck off, he speaks with many of the employees at Portage Transport and makes them feel valuable.
Once he's got a customer, he never loses a customer because of his passion, his thoughtfulness, and I can't say enough good about John because he can't be a better individual.
Although he worked hard, John always found time for family and has dedicated himself to being a great father and husband.
Johnny and I actually met when we were in middle school in grade 7, 8, and 9. We dated. We went to grade 9 grad together. And then over the years, in 1999, we got married. So we've just celebrated our 21st wedding anniversary. We have 2 beautiful children, our daughter Mariah and our son Braden. And soon we will have our granddaughter, Casey. And he's so excited, and I
think he's been experimenting with names too, throwing some different things out there, wondering what she's going to call him.
Yeah, if it's going to be Papa John or Grandpa. But yeah, he's over the moon excited and can't wait.
I think one of the biggest things that my dad's taught me is just to be patient and to be kind. That's a big thing I've learned from him. And also just to not take life so seriously and to just kind of live in your moment and enjoy life.
John, congratulations on receiving this year's award. Well deserved.
Congratulations, John, on being the 2020 recipient of the MTA Hain Transportation Associate of the Year Award. We are so proud of you. Thanks for all that you do for the MTA.
Well, I'd just like to congratulate John. If anybody deserves this award, it's got to be John. He's been in everything with his heart and 110%.
Congratulations, John. An award well deserved. And this is going to be one of many, knowing you. An old friend of mine always told me, John, if you got something to do, keep your head down and get her done. I know you will. You always have. Congrats, John.
Dad, I just wanted to congratulate you on this achievement. I'm so proud of you, and I couldn't be more proud to call you my dad.
Congratulations, love, on receiving the Associate of the Year Award. We are so proud of you, not just today, but every day. Thank you for being my best friend and walking through this adventure every day with me.
John, You are truly one of a kind, and I am honored to present you with the 2020 MTA Payne Transportation Ltd. Associate of the Year Award. Congratulations.
Thank you, Pauline and Payne Transportation Limited. We really appreciate you sponsoring that award once again this year. During the pandemic, we have seen many heroes. Tonight, we honor one through the new Bridgestone Canada Trucking Hero Award.
Hello, I'm Jim Devlin of Bridgestone Canada, and I'm the current chair of the MTA's Associate Trades Division. The idea for this award came about as a result of my attending an Ontario Trucking Association awards dinner. After being asked to present the award at that OTA event, I did some digging and learned that Bridgestone Canada has sponsored this award for several years. The award is called the Bridgestone Canada OTA Truck Hero Award, and it's presented annually to a driver that has demonstrated some heroic behavior. Many of the recent winners have been involved in helping with the aftermath of vehicle collisions. As we work to define this new MTA award, we decided to open the eligibility up to any employee of any MTA member company, whether carrier member, associate trades division, or bulk milk hauler, and any employee in any role, whether they are a driver, dispatcher, a service tech, an executive, whatever the position. We wanted this award to be as inclusive as possible. The name, Bridgestone Canada Manitoba Trucking Association Trucking Hero Award, is a natural choice. It keeps the spirit of the other award, but is unique to our association. So what do we mean by hero? Heroism can be defined as heroic conduct, especially as exhibited in fulfilling a higher purpose or in attaining a noble end, often while putting someone else's safety ahead of one's own. All acts, no matter how minor or major, are significant. It's important to recognize those acts and honor those individuals. Not only do they help someone in need, but they can also inspire and encourage others to be better citizens. Let's celebrate those among us who embody this caring. The award committee met virtually in September, and our unanimous choice for this first ever Bridgestone Canada Manitoba Trucking Association Trucking Hero Award is Devin Olofsson of Portage Transport, Inc. Let's hear his story.
I don't remember anything of the day that I passed out and died. I am told that I was moving side skirts, and I had just finished talking to one of the fellows that was working for me at the time.
One of our techs, Dustin, came running in the side door and said Warren had fallen down or went down. I called 911 on the way out. My first thought was like Warren's diabetic, so I kind of thought that something, maybe diabetic shock.
Called his wife. She's like, oh, he probably just forgot to have a chocolate bar and his sugar level's out of whack. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. It's like, this is not one of those times.
We just kind of came around the corner and Warren was laying on the ground there, and so we all just kind of stood around in shock for a second or two. So then I basically noticed that Warren wasn't breathing. I sent someone to grab some jackets and that just to cover him up. So then I checked to see if he had a pulse, and he didn't have a pulse. 911 operator started through the chest compressions.
Watched Devin doing CPR on Warren, and then the EMS staff took over. They gave him oxygen and used their defibrillator to try and get his heart started, and it was taking longer and longer. His face was growing paler, and all I was thinking was we were going to have a really hard conversation with Warren's family this morning.
First thing I remember after the event was waking up in St. Boniface Hospital, kind of really not sure where I was. And my wife was sitting beside me, and she had told me that I had a heart attack and that I was in St. Boniface, and that it was like 3 days later.
Never actually taken any CPR training. I kind of knew the basic concept of it and where to go, but it was really kind of the 911 guy that helped me through it.
I mean, watching Devin perform CPR and saving a co-worker's life is, I don't know, it still chokes me up, but it is amazing that we can have that kind of professionalism on our staff here. I'm super proud of Devin. Devin, congratulations on being a Bridgestone hero. And if I ever get into a medical emergency, I hope you're my first responder.
I'd like to congratulate Devin for receiving the award. You know, as a family, words really can't say much, but we came up with a word for Devin, and it's gratitude. We're grateful for the fact that he acted, and even though he didn't know a thing about CPR or anything, he stayed on the line with 911 and kind of learned something new that kept my heart in proper rhythm to be brought back. So we're very grateful for that.
Just what can I say? Somebody was watching over us that day, kind of guiding things. Just glad everything went the way it did. And I promise that there's no mouth to mouth.
On behalf of Bridgestone Canada and the MTA, congratulations on being chosen the first ever Bridgestone Canada MTA Trucking Hero. Well done.
Thank you, Jim. Congratulations, Devin. Speaking of heroes, now it's time to recognize a company who has made safety a priority. This is the RPM Safety Award. It was created to recognize a Manitoba trucking company that has achieved outstanding safety performance over the last year and consistently made significant improvements to their safety program and practices. Although this was awarded late last year, we'd like to recognize them here today.
Well, the safety culture at BISON is really a culture of caring. You know, when the business has a genuine concern and care for each individual, and they demonstrate that, then the employees and contractors continue to support that. How do we ensure compliance? One is when you see an activity that an individual is performing that doesn't meet your policies or procedures, you follow up with them. That's an absolute given that you have to do that. You know, again, the other is we do an annual safety survey so that we ask similar questions each and every year to get that litmus test of how our employees and contractors are viewing our policies and procedures. And then if there's any topic that is not to the satisfaction or standard to which we want, then we also create some courses to ensure that people understand our policies and procedures for that topic. We do lots of campaigns. NAOSH Week, we obviously are promoting workplace health and safety. So we're continually doing things like that throughout the year for winter driving so that we have all of our drivers go through that. So I think different campaigns help make sure people are constantly engaged in it. Our Safe Driving Reward program certainly is part of that, where our drivers are financially rewarded for their safe miles. Probably the most important item to ensure engagement is our right to decide policy. That's single-handedly the most important policy we have in our business, and it just doesn't apply to our drivers, it applies to everybody in our business. And again, that methodology about making sure everybody gets home safely at the end of each and every day or trip. There's a couple of reasons why we got involved with the RPM program. So by going through the process, we have set up a solid program that meets the standard, but at the same time we get verification from the program that we're actually living and breathing it. And to me, that's the most important thing. The feedback that we get, and it's actually that we do something with those results. And I think that that's the best thing about RPM is there's a standard to which it has set to improve the industry. And again, we have the ability to measure ourselves to that standard. It really comes down to your employees and contractors living and breathing it. It's them that keep it alive, and for that we are truly grateful to our employees and contractors that first of all believe in it and support it every day through every mile and every hour that they work for us.
You can't replace human life. You can replace materialistic things, but you can't replace human life. That's what BISON's right to decide policy comes in.
They just don't say it, right? They also keep their promise.
If you feel weather conditions or vehicle conditions are unsafe, they're right there to back you up and say, nope, you're not safe going, then don't go.
They go above and beyond safety. That is their first concern.
We actually have the responsibility to pull over and discontinue our trip because the load is secondary to the safety of the driver and everybody else that we're sharing the road with.
I feel comfortable driving here because safety is a priority for BISON. So my family know that I will be home safe.
We are safe with the BISON.
Yeah, we are safe.
To all our employees and contractors, a big thank you for your continued support in our health and safety programs. It is through your actions each and every hour that you work or mile that you drive that you support this. So on behalf of BISON Transport, thank you very much for all your safe hours and miles. We certainly appreciate it.
Congratulations to the entire BISON team, and of course, thank you to RPM for your sponsorship. We lost a pillar of the industry late last year with the passing of Red Coleman. And here to discuss his impact on the industry is his son, Gary.
Greetings, my name is Gary Coleman, and it is with a combination of sadness and pride that I share with you that my father, Red Coleman, passed away on November the 29th after a relatively short illness. His health was slowly failing, and like so many, COVID took him down at the age of 94. As a son, you always respect and honor your father, but the outpouring of gratitude and appreciation for Red since his passing has been nothing short of remarkable. He touched so many lives in such a positive way. My father got into trucking not because he thought it was a great business, but rather because of his love of trucks. He was 20, he wanted to drive them, haul freight, and fix them. He stayed active in trucking well into his 70s, and the only reason he slowed down was because Mom demanded that dispatch stop sending him out on loads. Dad was a trucker's trucker, and our drivers loved and respected him. In the early years, it had to be a love of trucking that kept him in it. There certainly weren't big profits that kept him going. He persisted and not only made a go of it, but made a life for his wife Norma and his 5 children. Dad always had a heightened sense of service, and the businesses in Steinbach appreciated that. As Steinbach grew, so did Southeast. As many have said, he was one of a kind, and he never wavered from his North Star of faith, love, integrity, and honesty. Trucking is a tough sport, and the business of trucking is extremely tough. But Dad always was able to stay true to his principles. He might have been only one of 2 or 3 that spent over 50 years active in the business and left without ever getting into a contract dispute or legal argument. He did many deals with simply a handshake or a verbal agreement. He told me of a number of deals he did with Milton Penner from Penner International on their way home from one of the many Manitoba Trucking Association board meetings the 2 of them attended over the years. He was business partners with Milton in a milk hauling business for over 30 years. They didn't have a shareholders agreement, at least none that I ever saw. They didn't need one. Their word was better than any document a lawyer could put together. Their word was their bond. These are all factors that embody what it means to be recognized as a recipient of the Service to Industry Award. Back in 2017, I had the honor and privilege to announce that the Service to Industry Award would be renamed the MTA Red Coleman Service to Industry Award. My brother Earl was in the industry for 30 years and I for just over 40, so Dad's influence also hit close to home. The industry has also been very good to me and provided an excellent life for my family. And to give back in just a very small way, earlier this year, I formalized the underwriting of this award into perpetuity. It will continue to be presented on an annual basis to the individual who the MTA feels is the most deserving and who has, like my father, given so much to the industry. Hello, my name is Gary Coleman, and I once again have the pleasure of presenting the MTA Red Coleman Service to Industry Award. This annual award goes to a key member of the Manitoba trucking industry and someone who has garnered the respect and esteem of their industry peers. Like many of us, this year's MTA Red Coleman Service to Industry recipient grew up in the industry. Typical of so many second-generation members, John Eric Albertson began at age 12 by helping out in the shop at Paul's Hauling.
John Eric was here picking weeds, washing trucks, washing parts, moving things around, doing whatever needed to be done in a family-run operation.
I didn't really know what Paul's Hauling was until he actually took me around and he showed me the Paul's Hauling building and Oak Point service and guard wine. And then I saw all the trucks and I thought, wow, this is a big operation. He was so proud working for his father and his company.
I guess the best way that I could describe John Eric is that a shop monkey at the age of 12, a graduate with a business degree from the University of Manitoba, a commercial pilot, a person that hungers for and grasps new technologies and business approaches and always wants to be at the front of the curve, a passionate advocate for the trucking industry, a loving husband and father, a good friend, and a big guy with a big heart.
The role at Paul's Hauling is as a member of the senior management team with a particular focus on equipment, regulations, and information systems. He also represents Paul's Hauling at various industry advisory committees, such as the National Task Force on Vehicle Weights and Dimensions and the CSA Committee for Hazardous Goods and Transportation.
There are two people in Canada that are extremely knowledgeable on weights and dimensions that I respect for their knowledge. John Eric is one of those people.
He likes meeting people, whether they're from the government to other carriers to software developers, listening to their problems and concerns of where the industry is today and where it's going in the future.
I feel like my dad loved being on the MTA board. I was at a couple of events and everyone's like, oh, you know, your dad is the funniest guy. Like, he'd go to the events and he would just dance around like crazy. So I think he really loved being on the committee and on the board and being the president of MTA.
Tenacity. John Eric will push and push and push to make sure that if it's the right thing to do, it's going through. But his attention to detail is among the best. Has anybody talked to John Eric about biodiesel lately? We understand what John Eric's passion for doing things and doing what's right. His childlike enthusiasm for, you know, things that he really loves and enjoys is fantastic, and it's so infectious.
I've known John Eric for almost 40 years, and one of the things that strikes me about him is his never-ending willingness to give back. This began back in 1980 when he joined the board of directors of the MTA and carried on when he joined the executive in 2012.
John Eric has sat on the MTA board for decades, and I believe he was the youngest member to ever sit on the MTA board. He is also the most longest serving MTA board member today. John's always been passionate about the industry, and he's worked hard for the MTA and the trucking industry. I know that John always strove to become president. Well, he's made that milestone, and John, as a president, has done a good job.
What do I think is John Eric's biggest contribution to the Manitoba trucking industry? I'm going to say his knowledge and his passion. His knowledge for the trucks and his passion for making sure that we drive forward change in the Manitoba trucking industry to make sure whatever we do to make the industry better.
Well, John has been considered outspoken and brash when he was younger. He called it like he saw it, and I always respected that. As the years have passed, John has become more strategic and tactical in his approach, but he'll still tell you in his way how he feels about things.
Dad's made a big impact on how I make decisions. Asking a zillion and a half questions, I catch myself so many times going like, oh, that was a John Eric move. Growing up, we've like seen how hard of a worker he is. He's told us stories about how he used to work till 2, 3 in the morning, and then he'd go home and sleep for a couple hours, and then he's on to his next job, having 3 or 4 jobs at a time. And I think that's really impacted us.
A dedicated family man, John Eric married Cheryl in 1984 and together have raised 3 grown children. Although he was working 14 to 16-hour days, he always managed time for the dance and gymnastics recitals and volunteered on the boards of St. Mary's Academy and Broncos football.
Every Saturday, he'd wake me up, say, be quiet as a mouse as we were leaving. And we drive out there, listen to some Tim McGraw, Brooks and Dunn, and then we'd stop at Don's, grab a carrot muffin, and he'd do some work in the office for a couple hours before we went and did our little father-son errands every Saturday.
He loves going for drives. So whether it's just to drive anywhere, like he'll take us to Half Moon, we wind up in Grand Forks. And it was just some great time to spend with my dad and got to bond and get to know him more.
He is trustworthy and compassionate and loyal and dependable, and he gives you encouragement when it's needed. He's always there for you and for the family too. And yeah, that's why we love him.
Congratulations, John Eric. Job well done. Manitoba trucking industry is recognizing you for all of your years of service and contribution. For that, I'm proud. I'm proud to be your friend, and I'm proud to be in the industry that is recognizing you today.
John Eric, you've worked long and hard for the MTA and the trucking industry. It's been my pleasure to work with you over the years and observe you representing and fighting for our industry. And let's not forget the good laughs we've had over the years. I'm proud to have worked alongside of you. Congratulations on your award. It's appropriate and very deserving. Your company, your family, and your industry are proud of you.
John, last year was a hard time for you to receive the award for your father's accomplishments. I wasn't there. I wish I was, as I knew it was a very difficult night for you. Now it's your turn. You have been dedicated to the trucking industry for so long, and I just wish you the best. Congratulations, and we're very proud of you.
Congratulations, Dad. I cannot express how proud we are for you tonight. You have taught us so much. You've taught the trucking industry so much, and everybody cannot be more happy for you. Congratulations. Dad, you're one of the hardest working men that I know. You deserve this award so much. I'm so excited for you. Now that you know our little secret, we're gonna pop some champagne and dance the night away. Congratulations, Dad.
Dad, you worked so long and hard for Paul's Hauling, Grandpa, and the industry. We love you so much. You're my best friend, and you're my hero, and you truly deserve this award more than anybody. Congratulations.
John Eric's presidency has seen professional and personal losses, but through it all, he remained a steadfast leader who has given a lifetime to our industry. His technological sense, enthusiasm for people, and his direct approach have led the MTA through a turbulent time. His resilience and dedication to the industry make him a perfect candidate to follow in his father's footsteps in receiving this award. John Eric, your time as MTA president was certainly a challenge, and we're all fortunate that you were at the helm. I, along with the rest of the Manitoba trucking industry, thank you for your lifetime dedication, not only to the MTA, but also to Canada's trucking industry. Congratulations and thank you.
Congratulations, John Eric, and thank you for your service, and thank you, Gary, for sponsoring this award in honor of your father, Red. Our final award this evening recognizes contributions from a long-standing MTA member. Check this out.
The OmniTrax Distinguished Member Award is presented to an MTA member company deemed to have made a long-term commitment and noteworthy contribution to the Manitoba Trucking Association, its associate trades division, Vehicle Maintenance Council, or the Manitoba trucking industry through ongoing dedication and active participation and support of the MTA. Bison's dominance on the long-haul truckload scene has impacted the trucking industry not only in Manitoba, but across Canada and North America. Their dedication to safety and innovation has made them a top fleet in more ways than one.
Our biggest accomplishment is creating an organization that lives by its values.
The Jessamine family is still involved with Bison Transport today, and their involvement is ensuring that our culture remains cornerstone in the beliefs that Duncan started the business with.
Bison Transport's relationship with the Manitoba Trucking Association goes back to May 28, 1969, when Bison Transport Inc. was incorporated in Manitoba.
Duncan Jessamine has always had a large commitment to supporting our industry and supporting one voice within the industry, both through the Manitoba Trucking Association as well as through the Canadian Trucking Alliance.
From the MTA archives, we found record of Duncan Jessamine, who was chairman of the local cartage committee, advocating for formalized driver training that very same year at one of the monthly meetings.
Right from the beginning, Duncan has been committed to having great drivers.
I started out with Bison Transport in 1973 as a driver, and I drove for about 32 years on the road all over North America for Bison, accident-free.
One of the first quotes I remember him telling me was that great drivers aren't born, they are trained.
Our training in that is unbelievable. I didn't know how to drive a big truck. Somebody taught me.
About 19 years ago, Rob Penner and I went down and looked at buying some simulators for Bison Transport. We were the second company in North America to do so and the first Canadian company to have driving simulators.
Bison has proven to be a leader in safety, driver training, and development. They have been actively involved with various committees to review new strategies in driver funding and retention. They have been at the forefront of new programs which enable companies to hire and invest in new entrants to the industry and mentor them through their new careers.
We have an expression at BISON, BISON can because we're people driven. The reality is everything we do is depending on good decisions by people throughout our organization.
And without all these people helping each other, BISON wouldn't be what it is today.
The 1970s saw BISON testing out various markets, including construction, catalog distribution, paper products, and the courier business.
I did all different types of jobs here at BISON because we had other companies. We had Echo Transport, we had Dominion Tanners. You didn't just work for BISON, you went and worked for them too. I really enjoyed it. Everything we did, it was like a challenge.
As the 70s gave way to the 80s, BISON became more focused. In the late 80s, BISON left their courier business and the company took advantage of free trade and deregulation to make some strategic moves. In 1999, Don Struber joined BISON Transport and led the company into the new millennium as BISON began to be recognized throughout North America for its management, dedication to safety, prioritization of the environment.
You know, we've won lots of awards. You know, I think obviously the safest fleet in North America for, I don't know how many years now, 14 is it or something? It's incredible. Obviously that's been amazing. You know, the best fleet to drive for, the best corporate culture, 50 Best Managed Companies Award. There's a lot of them.
We actually don't create policies and procedures to try and win awards, but it is a great affirmation to say we are doing a good job. So yes, we are very proud of the safety awards, but we're even prouder when our drivers get home safe every time.
Here at BISON, so many drivers really like the right to decide policy.
One of the things we hold as cornerstone is the respect of our drivers and their ability to stay as safe as possible at all times. That can include their own health, the road conditions, the weather conditions. They are professional drivers. They have that right to decide.
From the Truckload Carriers Association to Trucking HR Canada, American Trucking Associations to Smartway, its induction into Canada's Best Management Companies Platinum Club, BISON Transport has left its mark on the trucking industry across North America. Throughout all this, BISON has supported the Manitoba Trucking Association. As mentioned, Duncan Jessamine was the chair of the local cartage committee, and since that time, the MTA's board of directors has consistently had a BISON representative on it. BISON has also been represented on the MTA's Vehicle Maintenance Council, the Careers Committee, RPM Safety Council. MTA events have regularly been sponsored by BISON Transport, and the Blazing Bison always represents the company well at the annual Truck Driving Championships. It's extremely rare to have an MTA event without a BISON employee somewhere in the mix. The MTA is not the only group to have benefited from BISON's generous spirit. BISON employees are involved in many charitable events such as Canadian Cancer Society, Special Olympics, Heart and Stroke Foundation, Humane Society, the United Way, and many more. Their contribution to our communities, our association, and our industry have made a significant impact, not only in Manitoba, but across the globe.
I think it's just kind of who we are, plain and simple. That's kind of how we're wired. And my personal philosophy is that you don't really have a successful organization if you know, if you're not giving back. I would love to take the opportunity to thank everybody at BISON. BISON today is it's what you have created, and it's the sum total of all of your hard work.
I am proud to say that we are receiving this award for everyone at BISON Transport, not just the people that are there today, but the people that have worked very hard right from the start with Duncan Jessamine in 1969. We have a heritage and a history of great people, and from each one of those, it's my honor and privilege to say thank you very much for giving us this award.
For over 20 years, I've had the good fortune of calling BISON Transport a customer, and I can't think of a more deserving recipient as this year's MTA OmniTrack's Distinguished Member Award. To the Jessamine family, Don Struber, Rob Penner, and the entire management team at BISON Transport, congratulations.
Congratulations once again to the Bison team, and thank you Omnitrax for your long-standing support. Just before we let you go, just wanted to say thank you once again to all the great work and keeping the economy moving and for keeping us safe. Hopefully we'll see you in person next year. In the meantime, thank you to all of our wonderful sponsors. BFL Canada, Rempel Insurance Brokers, Beaver Truck Center, Buffalo Driver Training, Integrity Ventures, Fleet Profit Center. All right, everybody, that's it. That's a wrap. Hopefully we'll see you once again in person next year. In the meantime, be safe, everybody. Good night.